Grind with Andrew and Lance. Today's episode, we're going to look at the Week 18 Vikings victory over the Packers, talk about that a little bit, and also see what I'm thinking, for the entire year, what they need to improve on, what were some good things, some bad things, all that stuff. But first, it looks like you're in your office again there, Lance. Is this gonna be a thing, or are we gonna be changing sceneries all the time like we have been?
Um, TBD. That's what I'll say. TBD. But probably
That's
a little bit
fair.
more here. Honestly, man, it's just traffic so much easier to get through. It was a little bit heavier today than I thought it was going to be, but like
Mm,
not too bad. I mean, it still beats the 40 to 50 minute commute sometimes later in the day. Um,
yeah.
so yeah, but it's nice to be at the office. It's set up to be able to be a little more comfortable to have conversations like this. And um,
Hmm.
I am not one that's like excited to get to the office, but when it comes to days where we record, I'm feeling a little bit more excited just because it's great to talk about football. It's great to talk,
Yep.
even if your team lets you down and, forfeits the two seed. I mean, it's not like that happened. It's not like anybody made that type of decision this week.
Yeah, it's not like instead of playing the Packers, you got to play the 49ers. It's nothing like that.
I just speechless, Andrew. I know we're not talking about that, so
Hmm.
I will save my comments.
I am sure there's going to be a lot about that in our next episode. Little foreshadowing there, as it were. Um, but I guess we can just get into it. There wasn't a whole lot in this game, other than one piece that I'm going to touch on, which is kind of silly and annoying, but it happened. Um, But they started JJ McCarthy. He looked pretty good. He was 14 to 23, 182 yards, QBR 67. It's not bad. He had a few throws which were insanely good. He had a few throws that he sailed a little bit. Some accuracy issues he still has to clean up. But he was still playing through multiple, not just one, but multiple fractures in his hand. And it was kind of a pain tolerance and can you grip the football kind of a thing. And then after the first play in the third quarter, he pulled himself out because he really couldn't do anymore, which I respect that because last time he was trying to fight through it is when the Giants had that scoop and score on him because he just couldn't hold the ball anymore. But overall, it's just of what could have been with McCarthy because of injuries, not because of his poor play. I'm very confused with this narrative that Minnesota made a mistake in starting McCarthy this year. I don't see that. He went 6-4 as a starter. That's pretty good in the NFL. I know there was context, some of those games, Packers backups, or against the Giants and against the Commanders, where the defenses aren't that great. Well, I mean, Caleb Williams played those same teams. You don't see us giving him any excuses of why he beat them, even though he was down double digits in the fourth quarter to the Giants, which had that happen, I don't know. So you play who you play, and would you expect him to play poorly against these bad defenses? No. He played well, is what you would expect. So you got to give him credit on those. He's 6-4 as a starter. QB wins matter. Again, Caleb Williams, he's 11-5 this year. Some of those games weren't pretty, but he got the job done. Give him credit. QB wins matter. So there's still a strange narrative that Minnesota made a mistake and that they need to go big game hunting and fix their offense because this is not acceptable. I'm sorry, we had a winning record and we are literally a half game back of the playoffs with bottom of the barrel QB play for most of the time. And a lot of that wasn't McCarthy. Max Brosmer was in there for 2 or 3 games. Carson Wentz had to come in there for, I think, 5 games or 4 games. And there were a handful of games where we were literally just short of winning that wasn't all on McCarthy. Maybe I'm the minority in this, but McCarthy to me is the guy going forward. He showed enough. Now, do we need competent backup? Yes. We need a backup that can get in there if he has to play because McCarthy gets hurt again and can win us some games. I'd be totally fine if Carson Wentz came back because he can run the offense as a backup. And maybe speak into McCarthy a little bit. I'd be totally fine if we got like a Jacoby Brissett or if we got like a who else we're talking about? Jimmy G. These kind of guys, just a savvy veteran backup. No one that's going to be thinking, oh no, who's going to be the starter? Well, we know it's going to be McCarthy because our backup is so and so. I don't want us to go trading for a backup like a Mac Jones or a Tanner McKee because you have to give up high draft capital to get them, which basically means they're going to be the starter. And if they're not the starter, then you traded that much draft capital for a backup. That's just silly. So I don't want any of that. I just want us to sign someone solid, can back up McCarthy if he gets hurt again. Hopefully he can fix whatever bad juju's going on because it's just been little injury here, little injury there. Um, but we'll see because I think there's enough flashes that shows that he's the guy. And Justin Jefferson is saying the same thing. He wants him to be the guy next year. And there's a lot of players in that locker room. And there was one play in this game which I found hilarious. I didn't love it, but it shows who McCarthy is. So I think it was either early second quarter or toward the end of the first quarter where he was getting pressured, so he was scrambling out and he stiff armed a DB to the ground, and then he shoulder checked a safety into the sideline. And after that happened, the safety was kind of talking smack to him. So McCarthy got in his face, was yelling at him in his face, talking so much junk, and got a 15-yard taunting penalty. I was like, oh my goodness. That's totally a JJ McCarthy thing where he initiates the contact. He goes through the guy, and the guy talking junk like, yeah, you should hit me harder or whatever he said. And McCarthy don't back down. He's like, oh, you want me to hit you harder? I'll hit you harder next time. And he gets a taunting penalty. It's just a totally McCarthy thing, which I like and yet I don't at the same time. It's interesting. Don't get penalties, don't get yourself hurt, but I love that competitiveness. I love that energy. Um, the rest of the things in this game, Jordan Mason had 94 yards rushing. That's awesome, but it's against third stringers. And Justin Jefferson got his 1K. Glad he got his 1K. They actually played him longer than I anticipated because he got his 1K like early second quarter and he stayed out there. He was even out there in the third quarter. I was like, that's not necessary, especially when McCarthy exits. Why do you need your backup to have any kind of camaraderie with Jefferson? It was odd, but no one got injured. It was fine. He had 8 catches, 101 yards, got his 1K, and they were hunting for him early and often. I think he had like over 30 yards in the first quarter that they were made a point to get him his 53, and he got it. So that was awesome. It was also awesome to see that best kicker in the game, Will Reichard, went 3 for 3. So I think he's like something like 32 of 34, and he hasn't missed an extra point either. He's had one of the best field goal kicker years of all time, and yet he wasn't even invited to the Pro Bowl. That's just how it goes. He's just too good for him, I guess. And then our defense played pretty well. We had 4 sacks on Clayton Tune. He only had 34 passing yards. He had a -7 net passing yards. That was awesome to see. We gave up a little running game toward the end, but again, the game was basically over. One thing that was annoying was, come on, LaFleur, what are we doing? With 10 seconds left, he calls a timeout to kick a field goal so they don't get shut out. Really? Now, if 10 seconds left, you call a timeout and you dial up a play to try to score, I totally get that. Totally get that. Try to do something fancy, get a touchdown, cool. But what are we doing calling a timeout with like 10 seconds left just to kick a field goal to lose 16-3 instead of getting shut out? That's just silly. That's just silly. I mean, go for the score or just kneel it. That was totally I'm not getting shut out by my rival kind of a thing. And that's just really weak in my opinion. Um, yeah, that was kind of sad. I wasn't happy to see that. I was really hoping that Manis was going to miss. I was like, oh, this would be so justified if he misses this like 34-yard field goal, but of course he didn't. Um, but overall, 9-8 record, just short of the playoffs, but into the season on a really good note, 5-game winning streak, and that momentum you can carry over to the next season. We have to figure out how to draft, which is something we haven't shown signs of. I mean, in the past four drafts that Kwesi has, we probably have four starters on our team, maybe five, which isn't great. But that's not what you want out of drafts at all, especially when you have first and second round draft picks, which are almost a shoe-in for starters. It's we gotta do better there. He's done great at free agency and he's done great in undrafted free agents, but drafting players, it just has not been good. So we got to get better there. We got to figure out our cap. Our cap is, I think, like 35 million over right now, but that's easy
Yikes.
to maneuver.
That's
That's
true.
easy to maneuver. We have a ton of contracts that are very easily readjusted and look. They don't have any guaranteed money left, so we can restructure those easily. I've been watching some shows on just some off-season options, and with three moves, we're under the salary cap already, and that's just reconstructing some contracts. Brian O'Neill, T.J. Hawkinson, both of them have high cap numbers with no guaranteed money left. So either restructure them or cut them, which is possible for Hawkinson, and then boom, you're at like 5 million over already just after those two. So it's super easy to do, and we had cap left over from this season, which will carry over to next season. So that's already going to lower that number a little bit more. So we're going to be fine. We won't be able to go big game hunting in free agency like we did the past couple years, but it won't be too difficult to get under that cap number. And then hopefully Kwesi can draft. We haven't fired anybody. Everyone sounds like they're keeping their job, which I'm okay with. I would have liked to see a little bit of change. Like, I don't think Kwesi needed to be fired yet, but I think some of his executives needed to pack their bags and we needed to get a few different faces in there. And then as far as coaching staff is concerned, our O-line coach, we might needed to change there because
Mm,
we've picked up some big time guys and they haven't really panned out
yeah, they haven't
great.
lived up to what you were expecting. I understand
And the
that.
guys we cut played better than they did on our team with other teams. So it's like the common denominator here is our own staff, our own development. So something might need to shift there. And then our special teams coach, too many times that our special teams give up just really silly, mind-numbing gaffes that caused. Can't say that you can't point to that was the reason why we lost. Like for example, the Bears kick return. You can't point to exactly that's why we lost, but in the moment when you know you have to stop them from kicking a field goal and you give up a 52-yard return, can't have that. And that's just on discipline with your special teams unit. And then there's times when against the Ravens, when it's a competitive game and immediately on a kickoff, we fumble, give them the ball back, and they score a touchdown. Now, I know that's the player fumbling the ball, but that's also discipline, and you have to coach that. And so it falls on somebody. Will Reichard and Ryan Wright were awesome as far as kicking and punting, but outside of that, our special teams unit wasn't that great this year. So I would have liked to have seen maybe a little change there, but it's not something that's necessarily needed. It's just probably would have been okay making some changes, but it sounds like everyone's kind of staying the same and we're carrying over to next year, which okay, okay. Get some things cleaned up and we'll see what happens, but we have to draft better. That's
Mm,
been our biggest weakness because we have the reason why we do well in free agency is because we have to overspend because our draft has been so poor. So we have the 18th overall pick. I'm kind of hoping they move up a little bit in that because there's some corners and there's some safeties like Caleb Downs. He'll probably gone too high, but there's corners, there's a safety, and Jordan Love, not Jordan Love, Jeremiah Love, the running back. They're all probably going around that like 12-ish range, 10 to 12. So I'm hoping that we move up and go big game hunting for someone like that because at the 18th spot, looking at some mock drafts, there's not really a whole lot that we need that falls to us. So we be in prime trade back territory, and I don't really want to continue to do that. I want to move up. I want to be aggressive, kind of like we were for Dallas Turner, and he has actually turned out to be a really good piece. His first year, he didn't do much. He was 22 years old. Got to learn the system. Got to learn NFL. Beginning of this year, he just wasn't getting home, but he was close. The past 7 games, he's gotten like 8 sacks, and he's been just wreaking havoc, getting forced fumbles, and it's been really good to see. He has been a hit. We trade up a lot of draft capital to get him, but he is going to be a legit pass rusher in this league. He is so quick. He's got some great moves, great first step. I like what I've seen from him. So, got to give the office some credit on that because they were aggressive to go pick him up. And initially it looked like, what are we doing here? But he's starting to pan out a little bit. I like what I see there. Um, Another part to this game is two guys are probably done with their careers. CJ Ham, our fullback, he was basically giving his curtain call to the crowd and the locker room. It's getting very emotional in the locker room. And Harrison Smith, he's most likely done. He was the coaching staff did great. Like in the early fourth quarter, they called a timeout to pull Harrison Smith and let him get a standing ovation. Like they just took him out of the game after just no needed timeout. Just hey, we're gonna call timeout. Let the crowd give you your love, and you're gonna sit the rest of this game because there's you know thank you for your service kind of a thing. And then in the locker room, he had a locker room speech that was really good too. He's probably done. So props to Harry, props to the Hitman, props to CJ Ham. You guys were career guys, stayed your whole time here in Minnesota, played your hearts out, blood, sweat, and tears, all that. And it's unfortunate we couldn't give them a better send off of a playoff run. That's the main reason why they came back. Like CJ Ham came back and he was extremely injured. He was on beginning of the season IR, short term IR, and he couldn't play till week 5 or 6. Um, Honestly, he probably would have retired if he knew we weren't going to make a deep playoff run. Same with Harrison Smith. He came back because the thought was, hey, we could do something with this team. So I'm going to give it one more year. And he ended the season really well. The past few games, he's played lights out. I wish he could have got an interception this game, did that 40 mark, but he has 39 interceptions, which is he's still a Hall of Fame caliber player. Played his heart out his whole career, loved what I've seen, but he's probably going to retire, which means we have a big hole at safety, which is why I'm hoping we can trade up maybe for a Caleb Downs if he falls. If he falls to the 10-11 range, please, Quasey, dial that phone up and see if you can trade like a third round pick or something to go up to the 11 pick or something. I don't know. Just figure something out. If Caleb Downs is there, we have to go get him. We have to because our safety room without Harrison Smith is going to be hurting. It's going to be hurting a little bit. So overall, I'm happy with the year. It is disappointing that we missed the playoffs, but I don't think that we need to go big game hunting at quarterback. Like everyone's saying, go for Joe Burrow, go for Lamar Jackson. Well, A, they're most likely not available. That's just silly talk. And B, you want to give up 4 drafts just to pick up these guys and then have nothing to add to your team over the next 2 or 3 years? I don't think this team is a Joe Burrow away from a Super Bowl. I don't think it is. There's some holes we got to address, and you do that in the draft, and you do that through free agency. And if we're picking up a $50 million quarterback after trading 3 first round picks plus change, we'll have nothing to build on. So I don't think that's the way we need to go, and I don't think that's even possible. I think McCarthy is the way to go. Get a good backup, and continue to improve some pieces on this defense, and hopefully we can keep Brian Flores. Chances aren't great because the Raiders fired Pete Carroll, and sounds like Tom Brady is going to be heavily involved in the process. So he's going to want to get his New England guys back. So there's rumors that B-Flow could be the head coach and Dayball could be the OC, which makes a lot of sense. It makes too much sense not to be a possibility. So that scares me. The other teams that have head coaching openings, I don't think he's going there. Like the Giants, he's literally suing, so he's not going to the Giants. The Cardinals need offensive-minded people over there. They're not going to go with Flo. And then the Browns probably need some offensive-minded people to help develop a quarterback that they hopefully will draft. Or if they like Shooter or whatever it is, they don't need a defensive mind. So I don't think he makes sense in Cleveland. In Atlanta, same thing. They need someone to develop their young quarterback to Michael Penix, and that's not a Flores thing. But over in Vegas, You get an OC like Dayball that can develop a Mendoza, who they're probably going to pick number one overall, and then let Flores run the defense. That makes sense. I don't like it. It doesn't need to happen. We need to write Flores a blank check and say, hey, you pick your number, come back as our DC, let's make another run. But we'll see what happens. Um, I think that's all I got for the Minnesota's final game, and looking forward to next year. I'm still looking at this score like, come on, Green Bay. Why'd you guys call a timeout and kick a field goal? That makes no sense. I really, I'm really, I'm, I'm torn because I don't want the Bears to continue this weird, strange ride they're on. I want them to lose, but at the same time, I'd be happy if Green Bay shows up week one in the wild card and gets shellacked because they put up 3 points when they should have just kept trying to score a touchdown. It really is difficult having them play each other because I want both of them to lose.
Yeah, one funny comment I've heard is um, there's a famous Eagles writer. His name is Brandon Lee Gowden. He's from Bleeding Green Nation, and
Mm,
he was talking about that as a friend of his. It's a Lions fan that said, "You guys, basically, like you guys suck. You could have been the number two seed and played the Packers, so that way there's a legitimate chance that
hmm.
there wasn't one single NFC North team going to the division round of the playoffs."
Hmm.
So yeah, I it'll be interesting. I really don't know what to expect. Interesting enough, do you know who Las Vegas predicts to win the Bears Packers game right now?
If I was gonna guess, oh man, because there's some injuries going on with the Packers, it's kind of hard to know. So I'm guessing the Bears.
Um, well, I want to make sure here, but the last time I checked, yeah, oh, it moved. The line started with Green Bay at -1.
Okay, where's it at now?
It's now moved to Chicago at -1.5.
Mm,
So maybe Vegas is aware of something I'm not with injuries that
hmm.
they weren't originally considering for that first playoff match or for the initial line. But it's going to be tight. That's going to be. I mean, here's the thing: if I'm
Yeah.
Chicago, like if I'm Philly, I'm excited about playing Green Bay because the fact
Hmm.
that I think they are legitimately not the best matchup. If I'm Chicago, I am dreading this matchup because I just scraped by with an overtime miraculous win just a couple
Hmm.
weeks ago that will be fresh in Green Bay's mind, and they will want revenge. They will want blood.
Yep.
Um, so it's interesting. I don't know what wins out. Does the talent win out and Chicago pulls off the win, or does an angry, extremely upset Green Bay team, which could have won
Hmm.
the division if they had played disciplined football in the month of December, win out? I have
Yep.
no idea. I have no idea. That is probably, I don't know, man. That might be the toughest matchup to me this weekend in terms of
Yeah.
trying to pick.
And and there's some good ones too. There's some like, ooh, that's gonna be a good game kind of
Is this the
matchup.
best wild card round potentially that we've
It
seen in
might be.
years?
It might be because even that Eagles Niners, I was like, ooh, I don't like that. I wanted the Eagles to play someone just kind of get their feet wet, get the playoff started, but they gotta play Christian McCaffrey right out the gate, and Brock Purdy's been playing well. Luckily, the defense that you're going against is probably the worst defense in the playoffs, them or the
Yeah.
Bears. But man, that's gonna be a dogfight.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, man. The NFL's got to be excited though. This is
Hmm.
like, oh, also, let's take a moment to congratulate the Texans on moving out of the Saturday first game lineup. I feel like they have been eternally like tied to that slot for forever.
Hmm.
So congrats on moving to the Monday night slot. I feel like that means you're upgrading. You're being considered to be more of a legitimate
Right.
contender.
They probably had to because the Steelers played the last game, so they couldn't
That's
put them in the
true.
first game. That wouldn't have been fair to them. But that that's totally fair, even though that's probably one of the more lopsided, the possibility of being the most lopsided game is that one.
Yeah, I the Steelers got to the playoffs, and congrats to them. But
Yep.
the Ravens, I mean, Tony Dungy said it well on Sunday Night Football. Um, they have continued to give away games. They gave away games
Yep.
all season long. The Patriots
They
game is a
did.
prime example of that. The Buffalo
Yep.
Bills game, prime example of that. And you take those two matchups right there, and it's a different
Mm-hmm.
outcome. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's frustrating. I have more on that, but it'll connect to my Eagles thoughts, so I'll save that for later.
Okay. Well, is there anything you wanted to add to the Vikings thoughts?
Um, I, I just wanted to take a moment. I couldn't find what the exact record has been for Kevin O'Connell in December, but I know that it's an extremely high winning percentage. And considering all the factors that happened, that you have
Mm-hmm.
JJ McCarthy go out, they have Brosmer go in against the Lions. Um, I wanted to give the Vikings some props there. It's a big accomplishment to when things seem bleak and you shouldn't win games, and you still find a way to. I,
Mm-hmm.
I think there's something to say, and I think this is why the Lions fought so hard to win on Sunday. How you end a season could absolutely
Right.
affect how you start a season. And as of now, I think McCarthy has done enough to quell the rumors and discussion about whether or not he should be the starter in Minnesota. I think that he's done enough to show, okay, there's potential here. Who knows if it's past a 1 year agreement? I mean, that's what it is. He's got 1 year. He's got 1 year to
Yeah,
prove
I
himself,
agree.
and I think he can. I think he should be able to. Um, I am surprised also on the coaching front that not more changes have happened for the Vikings. I
Mm-hmm.
agree with you on the offensive line standpoint, special team standpoint. The one I was going to mention though is the training staff. Um, your injury total was so high this year that I'm surprised they're
Mm-hmm.
looking at making a change there to see if maybe that a diet change, the way that they're stretching, the way that they're working out, if there's anything that could be done to help reduce injuries on that front, because Minnesota was hit hard this year. Um,
Yeah, and there is some to that possibly as well, but injuries are kind of a puck luck kind of a thing too. Like last year,
yeah,
we didn't get injured that much. This year we did. So it that kind of happens, but I do hear what you're saying about maybe looking and seeing what's going on. And there was some strange things going on injury related. Like Christian Darrisaw was it was odd. Like he's coming off a reconstruction of his knee because he hurt that against the Rams last year, I think week 8 or 9, something like that. And so everyone thought that he was going to be on short-term IR and come back like week 5-ish, but he was practicing throughout training camp, looking like he was getting ramped up. And there was this thought that hey, he could be ready for week 1. He comes back week 3. Okay, awesome. He's ahead of schedule. But then he goes out again. Then he comes in again. And then he takes some time off against the Steelers game. Like he was out for the whole fourth quarter against the Steelers game because he was on pitch count. And then he's saying that he doesn't quite feel right. And the trainer's like, no, he's good to go. It was the Christian Darrisaw injury history this year for 2025 was odd. It was strange. So
mm,
there's something there. Like there needs to be like every aspect of the team of the organization need to be looked through like an autopsy kind of a thing to see what's going on because there's some weird stuff this year. But I mean, we got through what they're calling a Black Monday, they want to call it, and no one got fired. But that still doesn't mean that firings won't happen. So there still could be some internal discussions, and I hope some changes do get made. But that Christian Darrisaw injury this year was really odd, and
yeah.
he didn't play that well. I mean, there was a stat that I heard that between Darisaw and our backup Justin School, who was awful, the PFF grades were very close. I thought, ugh, that's not good to have your PFF grade compared to Justin School. That's not good at all. So hopefully, whatever this injury mess was for him, for Darisaw, he can get that figured out, and we can have our top 10 left tackle back next year.
Well, I mean, the Vikings aren't going to the playoffs. You guys will have a third place schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you can end the note on a good term and look to next year. There's value in not having to worry about the postseason. It is an added
Yeah.
stress. The way I look at it, unless there's two boats. where I think it's okay to get to the playoffs and be excited. One, you have a legitimate chance to win the Super Bowl. Two, you are a young developing team, and this is your like you entering the peak of your um,
Hmm.
window of opportunity. Unless you're in those two boats, if you lose in the playoffs or like you get trounced in the playoffs, it's tough to feel optimistic, and it's tough not to
Right.
think we just wasted time. We just got more banged up,
Hmm.
and it's going to make our window for next year even tougher. Um, so I think Minnesota's in a good spot right now. I think that they should feel good about their year, and we'll see what the next year brings. So in the meantime,
Yep.
let's see how the rest of this year finishes.
It's gonna be very interesting. Well, we shouldn't waste any more time, so we can get to you talking about your Eagles. So, thank you guys for joining us in this episode of the Gridiron Grind with Andrew and Lance. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment, and we'll see you in the next episode where Lance he's got some stuff to talk about.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you soon.